Hi guys, it's M here. So I think it's important that we look at those who are saying they have insider information. Also, any information that gets sent to you that's meant to be from an inside source. There's many YouTubers out there that are saying they have inside sources. I get sent a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of videos. Now, I'm not doubting that some YouTubers and some people that have sent me information may have information come from the inside, but how can you trust that they're not being sold misinformation? How can you trust that these inside sources are actually inside sources and not just spreading more disinformation? So what I'm saying is not that I disbelieve everyone that says they have inside sources. I certainly don't. However, I would be very careful and use your own sense, logic, critical analysis when deciding to accept information on face value. So please do your own research. Don't accept everything at face value, and be wary of those. Listen to those, but be wary of those that tell you that they have the inside sources. They have information that others are not privy to. If this information was from the inside and others weren't privy to it, would they be sending it out to a channel to mass distribute to all of you? So the message is not to dismiss anything that comes from inside sources or YouTubers or people, figures that say that they have these inside sources, but to take them all with a pinch of salt. Do your own research after listening to them, and do not, please, take all that is fed to you as gospel. You're careful of listening to the mainstream media, and rightfully so. You should also be very careful of who you listen to and what information that you put stock into. So that's it. Just be wary of the information that's being fed to you.
It's all about doing your research, and
it's so easy to do most of the time as well. It's really like none of the stuff that I put on my channel really is like, you know what I mean, I'm not. This is another thing. Not to bring up the fat bold dude, but having inside sources. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't have any inside sources, bro. There's no need.
So I'm currently the owner of the world.
just one point there with regard to the Vatican.
Yeah.
Well, I know from my sources the Pope and 350 members of the Vatican staff have been arrested and charged.
Like there isn't anyone on the quote unquote inside that could offer me anything that would benefit my position as to my thoughts on anything. Do you know what I mean? The information and your position can be so easily manipulated. If you were to have an inside source, I don't trust none of these people that say them sorts of things. So yeah, that's another thing that sets me aside from any of these people that come and chat this stuff. You know, I go and dissect what comes from the mainstream media and what they tell you, because the predictive programming in these things, you know, they have to put certain things in a certain way. So if you know how to analyze and address these things, you can draw truth out of all of their bullshit. But to have inside sources that are feeding you information is always super dodgy. And these guys are so vague with it. It's unbelievable, you know. Like we keep saying, you know, there's just no proof to none of these claims. We go around in circles and circles of just all these mental individual claims that they've made, but there's no proof for any of it. Not one thing.
People should be asking for the proof. People should be thinking themselves. And a lot of these people, I said this in the other interviews, you know, they will say, well, you shouldn't just listen to the mainstream media and you should do your research and things like that. And then it seems like with this whole phenomenon, it seems like everyone has kind of shut down, and their research, what they say is a research, is the documents they've been told to read by these people, the words that come out of these people's mouths, and the documentaries that these people make and make you watch. And that is research. And it's just like, hang on, why don't you look into it? Like other avenues. Don't look on kingof.uk. Don't look on David Mahoney and Charlie Ward's channel. Look at...
Yeah, no, you need to go and, I mean, Charlie Ward speaks about the CDC regulations and how he realized that COVID was downgraded in the World Health Organization and the UK arm of the health sector. And it's just it's all just total nonsense, man. You know, if people go and read the COVID regulations, the UK COVID regulations, there's some really interesting uses of wording in there that no one seems to mention. I've mentioned it on my channel a few times in a few various videos that, you know, a lot of these things are a lot less interesting to watch if you're just seeing me there scroll through the regulations and watch it, you know. So it doesn't often quite get the traction that some other videos do, and that's fine. But I would encourage people endlessly to go and read them yourselves, because, for instance, I can't remember the section off the top of my head, but it says somewhere that you can be detained. Obviously, there's all these lowerings in sort of mental health tribunals and the criteria that they need to meet in order to detain you under certain acts that they would usually have to meet. There's a vast lowering in a lot of different cases, and there's certain parts of legislation that say if you're a person that is likely to contaminate others, you can be detained. And to me, that indicates that you don't necessarily have to actually contract the disease. You just have to be someone that is likely to contaminate others. That's
so vague,
right there. That's someone that doesn't believe it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't see any of these guys talking about any of that stuff, and it's right there in black and white in the legislation. And again, it might be boring to watch, but I'd implore everyone to go and do their own research, because it's easy. You just go on Google. Everyone's telling, use Google, man. Like, bro, everything that you need will be right there, because they have to fucking tell you about it, bro. They have to let you know.
Yeah, it's not like sort of DuckDuckGo and things like that are the only way you can find any information. The people who think that, you know, are very much mistaken. It's just like how these fact checker websites, it's just like, anything that's on there is completely wrong. You have to think the opposite of what's on there. No, man. Like, they're quite possibly corrupt. You can't take for granted or as gospel anything like that's said on there. However,
a lot of again with that.
If the sun goes down, they'll tell you if the sun goes down, it gets dark, and they'll be correct. And it's the same that you can find information on there which is genuine. It's just that not everything that's on there might be genuine. And
this is it.
That's like any media platform.
It's all about analysing and critically analysing and breaking down what is being presented. And there are many things, such as this whole King scenario, that are put in place purely to discredit any sort of movement or to quash any sort of real resistance. So the whole thing with all of this, you know, for me with this Jasara financial reset, everything's going to be golden on the other side. Just wait, drink some wine, chill out in the sunshine in the south of Spain. Just wait, it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine.
Hey, wait, look at this. Right, just from that picture we just put out, a lady called Helen Daniel. Thank you for all you do. By the way, my neighbour and I just had $18,000 debt removed this morning.
Hey!
Brilliant.
I wonder how that's...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Global. Yeah.
I've had a contact today where somebody went to pay a utility bill, only small, £138.
Yeah.
And they said, no sir, it's already been paid.
The utility bill, where in England?
In England, just like randomly. Said, no, I haven't paid the bill. And they go, well, there is no bill. And the one thing that we're learning through this is like, it's happening randomly everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah. Must be the good people first, eh?
It must be the good people first. So if you're a bad person,
you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Really?
Well, you just know, don't you? You just know. This is why we're all happy. It's got nothing to do with
the gin and tonics.
Everyone's sat there with their feet up, bruv, and we're still getting raped the same way we was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But right now we're at the cusp of it when people really, really, really need to be knowing how to combat it. It's not just about knowing, just acknowledging what's going on doesn't give you a means to really combat something. And at the minute, what they're pushing, not just with this King thing, but you know, the whole thing there is a means to stop people really being able to take it upon themselves to combat this shit.
Yeah, it's just to kind of soften the truth movement and what all that was happening up till what, maybe a year or two ago, when there was a mass awakening, which is like still kind of happening. Which I
mean, yeah, there was it. I mean, I've seen it happen in 2012. It's happened obviously like after 9/11. That was a big thing. So there's 8 to 10 to 12 year periods where people come into these realms of knowledge of knowing that governments function in certain ways. Secret societies were set up at certain times and include certain individuals that are involved in certain organizations that were created at certain times. There are certain, all of these different things, but people come into these realms of thought at different times. But coming into these realms of thought gives you the will to want to make a change. But it's how you do make the change. And a lot of these people coming into these realms now are thinking, oh, fucking hell, we've come into it. And Charlie's saying it's all sorted.
Yeah.
It's all been dealt with. It's all been dealt with a few months ago. So,
it's all happening. It's already happened. People are already dead. They've already been executed. Don't worry about it, mate. Yeah.
Look at the list. Greg Hallett's on the list.
Yeah.
How many times did you get told that?
Yeah, I got told that as well.
Fucking.
Oh, no, that's a fake one. Or you don't believe them all. But, don't worry.
Like, I've been shown these things where people have popped up and been like, oh, Greg's on the list. But I myself haven't looked at any list. Like...
I've not given any stock to any lists, and even some people that I think actually have military credentials that have shared them with me. I thought that, but how do I know that you're not being fed misinformation to feed other people from a position?
This is what I'm saying about inside info, man. This is what I'm saying about inside info. There,
it doesn't necessarily hold stock. So I asked people, how can you give us any sort of indication this is from a proper source? And they will say, well, no, of course I can't give you my source, but I know that there's something. And I'll say, how do you know this source is genuine? Like that, you might know that they're in the military, but how do you know this information is genuine? And they'll just be smugly like, well, yeah, see, I know. You obviously just do your research. No, just think about it. Like, analyze it. Be critical. Be critical for the sake of getting to the root of the truth. And for all it could be true. Right, but don't just take it at face value, and that's the same with everything. It's the same with this king deception.